the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge, connecting Metro Vancouver to the North Shore via Highway 1. Originally called the Second Narrows Bridge, the bridge became a tribute to the 19 workers who tragically lost their lives during its construction on June 17, 1958, when a portion of the bridge collapsed. Renamed in their honor, the bridge serves as a reminder of the risks undertaken by those who build our cities and the importance of workplace safety. In the mid-1860s, crossing the Burrard Inlet from Vancouver to the North Shore meant relying on private rowboats, often operated by individuals like Navy Jack Thomas. As demand grew, other boats joined Navy Jack's efforts to handle the growing residential and commercial traffic. 2 years after the incorporation of the District of North Vancouver in 1893, the Union Steamship Company began providing 6 scheduled crossings daily, offering a more reliable and comfortable alternative. During the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896, a proposal emerged to construct a railway connecting Vancouver to Dawson City. This plan included building a bridge across the Burrard Inlet and extending the railway northward via the Indian Arm. Several other railroads became involved in the project, including the Canadian Northern Railway, Milwaukee Road, and the Pacific Great Eastern Railway. These companies aimed to develop the north shore of Burrard Inlet, as the south shore was already dominated by the Canadian Pacific Railway. The Burrard Inlet Bridge and Tunnel Company was formed, and contracts were issued to build a span across the Second Narrows. At one stage, it was proposed to dam the Narrows and construct bridges and wharves. However, World War I disrupted these plans, compounded by the bankruptcy of the railroads involved. As a result, the vision of building a bridge and railway lines through the Indian Arm, the Capilano Valley, or Howe Sound was abandoned, leaving the crossing of the Burrard Inlet to the North Vancouver Ferry and Power Company, which was formed in 1904. Operating the steam-powered North Vancouver Ferry No. 1, or the Norvan, it became too small to serve the expanding Lonsdale population, so additional ferries were launched, including the No. 2, the St. George, followed by No. 3, No. 4, and No. 5. After World War I, increased funding for harbour improvements across the British Empire, partly in response to wartime shipping challenges, enabled the construction of a bridge to connect Vancouver with the growing communities of the North Shore. Construction of the Second Narrows Bridge began in 1923 and was completed 2 years later. It opened to vehicle traffic on November 7, 1925, with a toll of 15 cents for cars and 5 cents for pedestrians. Rail traffic followed less than a year later on June 3, 1926, further reducing reliance on ferries and facilitating commerce across Burrard Inlet. The original combination road and rail bridge included a bascule to allow marine traffic to pass through, as the Second Narrows is a vital shipping route. Currents through the Second Narrows made navigation treacherous. With the bridge's low deck and the bascule being so near the shallow waters of the southern shore, the bridge was plagued by frequent collisions with marine traffic. In 1927, serious collision damage with the bridge occurred from an American freighter, the Urana, and a separate incident involving a tugboat, the Shamrock. A year later, it was struck again, this time by British steamship, the Norwich City. In 1930, the SS Losmer damaged a span, and later that same year, on September 19th, the bridge received its biggest blow. The Pacific Gatherer, a bulk log carrier, and its tug, the Lorne, became wedged under the bridge and took out the 300-foot center span. The damage caused by this collision was the demise of the Second Narrows Bridge. Although the potential to salvage the damaged bridge was considered, the engineers reported that the effort would be inadvisable and a waste of money. In December 1930, engineers Albert Bickle and Ernest Bissett proposed a solution to the Second Narrows Bridge issue. They suggested leaving the bridge unchanged and constructing a shipping canal at its north end. The plan included dredging tide flats to form canal walls, reinforced with rock, and adding locks at each end to eliminate currents. A double bascule bridge over the canal would allow quick raising and lowering, with roadway and tracks twice the width of the existing bridge. In January 1931, public hearings were held in Vancouver, during which many different proposals were submitted by engineers, including one proposal to build a dam or causeway across the Second Narrows. The recommended proposal with the most support, submitted to the federal government in May of 1931, was to construct a 4-kilometer lock-free canal to reduce the gradient between the upper and lower basins of Burrard Inlet, ensuring safe ship passage by minimizing currents. The proposal included reclaiming tidal flats along the north shore using dredged material from the canal. This would create an 800-acre industrial area with a 4-mile waterfront, providing valuable industrial sites and harbor facilities. Ultimately, the government decided to have the bridge repaired, replacing the bascule with a center lift span. After 4 long years of planning and construction, the bridge finally reopened. The delays made it clear there was a need for another vehicle crossing over Burrard Inlet. Any public resistance towards a crossing at First Narrows quickly turned to support, with the Lions Gate Bridge opening on November 14, 1938. Even with the opening of the Lions Gate Bridge, traffic interruptions persisted at the Second Narrows. With the constant raising of the center lift span, it created massive delays. In 1952, for example, some 28,000 boats passed under the bridge, requiring the lift span to be raised over 5,000 times. Marine accidents were not eliminated with the bridge improvements. In 1954, the Norwegian MS Bonanza struck and became lodged against the bridge. Construction of a replacement bridge became crucial to relieve the growing traffic problem. The provincial government moved forward with the decision to construct a new bridge at Second Narrows, just west of the old bridge. Swan Wooster Engineering Company was chosen to design the bridge, which would feature a deck-type cantilever with the roadway supported by steel. Construction began in November 1957, with Kiewit Raymond contracted to build the piers and Dominion Bridge Company responsible for the steel fabrication. During construction, a disaster unfolded near quitting time on June 17, 1958. At approximately 3:40 p.m., workers on Span 5, situated 40 meters above Burrard Inlet, heard a terrifying noise as the structure began to fail. The collapse of Span 5 caused a domino effect, displacing the columns of Pier 14 and leading Span 4 to drop into the Burrard Inlet. 79 workers plunged into the water, resulting in 19 fatalities, including 14 ironworkers, 2 engineers, a painter, and a commercial diver who drowned days later while attempting to recover a body. The weight of their tool belts and the impact of the fall contributed to the high death toll. 20 others sustained serious injuries in this incident. In the aftermath, a royal commission was tasked with investigating the collapse of the bridge. It determined the primary cause of the failure was faulty engineering calculations done on the temporary supports, known as falsework. Those calculations and designs were done by young engineer John McKibben and then missed by engineer in charge Murray MacDonald. Tragically, both men died in the collapse. Other plausible factors include questionable quality of materials and general lack of oversight. The collapse shocked the nation, drawing attention to the dangers faced by construction workers and the shortcomings in engineering and safety standards of the time. It prompted a thorough reevaluation of the construction practices, including the roles and responsibilities of engineers, contractors, and safety inspectors. Despite the tragedy, construction on the bridge resumed, and it was completed and officially opened on August 25, 1960, at a cost of approximately $23 million. The bridge served as a critical infrastructure link for the region and a somber reminder of the lives lost during its construction. As was a standard practice with new infrastructure projects, tolls were added to the Second Narrows Bridge until their removal 3 years later on April 1, 1963, which conveniently coincided with the BC election a few months later. Also in 1963, the original Second Narrows Bridge was sold to Canadian National Railway for $1, and a larger lift span was built to replace the aging 1926 bridge. On June 17, 1994, the Second Narrows Bridge was renamed the Ironworkers Memorial Second Narrows Crossing to honor the workers who died in the 1958 collapse. The renaming honors their sacrifice while serving as a lasting reminder of the importance of workplace safety and engineering diligence in building safer, more reliable infrastructure. With over 120,000 vehicles crossing the bridge every day and lengthy delays during rush hour, options to replace the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge are being explored. Enhanced transportation over the Second Narrows of Burrard Inlet could ease congestion and boost local economies. A North Vancouver study suggests replacing the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge with modern solutions like rapid transit could attract 120,000 daily users and remove 50,000 vehicles from the bridge. Proposed designs include a new bridge west of the current one, with options of a twin-deck construction with a multi-use path, rapid transit, and collector lanes on one side, and regular traffic on the other, or a stacked deck option. SkyTrain offers the fastest travel time, while light rail provides balanced capacity. Bus rapid transit, set to begin in 2026, will test demand for larger projects. TransLink is working with stakeholders to finalize the best approach, with ridership data driving future transit investments.